Ah d'accord, donc en fait il faut attendre. Ah, je savais pas en fait. Ok, juste on va regarder si ça fonctionne bien. Ok, parfait. Ok, donc ça c'est bon. Ça c'est bon aussi. Yes. Attends. Non, voilà. Ok, parfait. Donc là on va voir. Juste là. Alors attends. C'était. I know we can do it. Mais audio browser capture Canadian color. Ok, donc attends. Si je me mets comme ça, je perds ma webcam quoi. Tu vois, je perds la webcam, donc ça c'est un peu chiant. On va se mettre comme ça. On va tous se mettre comme ça, voilà. Big screen, voilà. Voilà, this one. Hop. Voilà. Alright. Ça va être pas mal. Tac. Alors just let's check something. Ça c'est ok. Ok, tac. Parfait. Parfait. Ok, nickel. Donc alors attends, tac. C'est parfait. J'ai non, on s'en fout. Juste. Okay, so here we are. All right. So sorry for the delay. So just let me check now one things up about audio. Alors attends, tac. Et puis il n'y a pas l'audio. Hello, hello, hello. Non. Ah, attends. macOS Screen Capture. I. Au du bureau, yes. Ah, attends. Ah ouais, je crois que c'est ça. Hey. Non, c'est ça. Yes. Ok, c'est pas grave. Au pire, c'est quoi? On va le faire sans. Hop, ça, on va le. Ça, on va le remove. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Alors attends, par contre, il faut que je sois sûr que ça puisse record ça. Capture. Ok, micro, vas-y. Hop. Non. En fait, c'est pas ça. Ça, tac. Donc, attends. Ah, ok. Microphone. Alors, attends. Est-ce qu'il me trompe pas? iMac. Microphone. Ok. Allô, allô. Ok, parfait. C'est bon. Ok, cool. I guess we can start soon. Quand c'est chat. Alors par contre, j'ai pas le chat. Alors attends, il y a le chat. Ah, voilà. Clé du flux, copier, réinitialiser, ok. Alors si je le mets en grand pour voir, est-ce que je vais avoir le chat ou pas? Non. Donc déjà, il n'y a pas le chat. Donc, ça, on met la diffusion, ok. Alors, il est où le chat? Alors, juste. Ok, tac. Je vais juste modifier ça. Voilà. Puis pour la non, c'est education. Il n'y en a pas. Concept automatique, alright. Langue et certificat. On va dire que là, on va être en anglais. Voilà. Parfait. Bon, ça, on verra plus tard. Chat en direct. Ouais. Ah, pourquoi c'est désactivé ça? Ok, bon, c'est pas, on va pas se prendre la tête. Alright, so. On va partir alors. Ok. All right, everyone, and welcome for this first stream on this channel. So, to be honest, this is a while I wanted to do something with this channel. Same for the people who follow me from a while now. I am a French baker, a teacher for almost 10 years. And with this channel, before I do some like a short video to show or to do bread. Sometimes this is just a video, take on a bench a little bit from scratch. From myself or from people or even sometimes from my students, But on this new year, 2026, I wanted to develop a new things for myself, for you maybe, and I think what I can do with this channel, because this channel was good, okay, 155 person who follow this channel, so I think, okay, you have a little bit interest from the bread making, so how I can help the people to do a bread and more further on my home, So I'm based in China, for the people who don't follow me from a while. So for that, I passed with VPN. So if sometimes there is a little bit lag or some problem with the stream or even with the video, sorry about that because it's not about my fault, but I will try my best to do a best quality I can do for you. And also why I do it in English, because of course I'm French, I can do in French, but I guess now in worldwide many people want to do bread, and basically it's better for me to do in English for myself, of course, but also for you, and to reach maybe, I hope, all people in around the world. Of course, you have subscribed, so you can do your tools. And if you have any question, even in French, maybe I can answer in French. No problem about that. So on this topic, same like you can see on this one, I have my files, and the first things this is. Oh, my first thinking was, oh, I can help the people to understand how to do the bread with out of mixer or even any lab, because sometimes I'm not on my lab, and when I'm on my lab, I'm focused on my product with teaching and something. I don't have time to take the time to do something same like a real professional video. You can see many in YouTube, but what YouTube is like or is lack on this one, this is about the theory files and theory process, because okay, even tomorrow I can shape one bread or one croissant front of the camera. You can watch, you say, wow, very good croissant, chef, nice. But if you don't do it by yourself, you cannot catch properly the process, the feeling with the dough, the feeling with your environment, your atmosphere inside the room. Why the dough today is maybe shaggy, why tomorrow is a little bit more hard, etc., etc. All of these tiny questions you cannot catch properly with the video. Every time I say to my students, YouTube have more knowledge, or even internet now, have more knowledge than a professor. But if really you want to understand what and how to do a bread, you should go directly in your kitchen and do the bread, because every day your bread will be completely different. That is for the practical. But first, you should know the theory. And the theory craft is very important things for your bread making and your journey. So even you can see, okay, the chef say, maybe I do a single fold, double fold, example for the croissant dough or the layer yeast dough, okay, but why he do double and single? Why he do single and double? Why he do 45% of hydration? Of he do maybe a 60% of hydration? Why he late 2 hours of bulk fermentation at room temperature, and why another do 2 hours into the fridge? This is exactly why we are here, and this is exactly why I'm doing this one today. And more further this year. This is exactly to explain you the process of bread making, and with different steps, and explain you how we can do and why the reaction sometimes of the yeast, of the wild yeast, of the butter, of the hydration, of the flour also you use. And these tiny details is very important, because you cannot start your journey of the bread making just from scratch. Take a flour, water, yeast, salt, sugar, even if you want English, and start to mix and say, okay, I do bread. Yes, you do bread today, but tomorrow maybe your bread will be different. And at this moment you have a lot of questions. And trust me, I have ton of my students every time contact me, hey chef, why? Because at this moment it's important to understood the process. When you know the process, you learn the process, at this moment you can correct on your bench, on your room, on your lab, on your kitchen, whatever, your bread making. So this is exactly why we start here. So any question you have for this one, anything you want explore more further, let me know, and I will be very happy to help you. And this is exactly why I'm doing this one today, and why I wanted to go more further with this one. This is to explain how to do a bread simple, but a little bit more deeper, because sometimes I saw some video on YouTube. This is only from making, not from understanding the process. And I guess now many people do the bread, many people are chef, no worry, no problem about that, but most of time this is okay, a lack about the theory and about the bread making. So to be honest, I don't know how long will be this video. Also, I will cut in short and something, and let's see later what I will do with this one. And I hope really you will enjoy and jump in on this one. So first, same like you can see, we will do bread making process. So the bread making process consists to have, this one, maybe, voila, more smaller, or even, in a way, I will put out myself, and I put directly in a big one. Will be more better. So this one we have the bread making process. We have first at all the scaling. Very important step. If you don't scale properly, you cannot do very good bread at the end. So all start with the scaling. Obvious to purchase a good raw material, that but raw material also we will do a topic later. First I wanted to start with this 12 step, because why is very important for me to let you understood each process. And after, of course, on this process we can have different topping with the raw material obvious, the mixing, the shaping, dividing, bulk, and etc. And of course the bread baking. So first at all, this is about the scaling. You need to scale properly. After, this is a fermentation method. In bread making, especially in European bread, we have a different various method. Same like a pre-fermented dough, a pulish even, a biga if you are in Italy, or different things same like this. Fermentation method, that also we need to explore why we use and for what we use, After, you have mixing, kneading, so that is a two part separate. Mixing, this is just to combine the raw material. Of course, we can see that more further later. And kneading, this is at this moment you start to stretch your gluten and to create your network. Very important, very important. And now you will understand why this one is important. After you have the first fermentation, common calling also a bulk fermentation, but I prefer to divide first and secondary, so that is more understanding for everyone, you know. After you have, of course, dividing. Alors, pre-shaping, in France, we call that MEF, so that means mise en forme. Sometime you will see, I will speak a little bit of French word, but it's more easy for me and it's not very hard to understand, but this is a pre-shaping. Very important also step. After the resting time, important also for the window glut, and at the end, the shaping and the secondary fermentation. At the end also, scoring, previous baking, and the storage. Don't negligent the storage. D'ailleurs, hop, I know, voilà. I took just some tool. Sorry guys. Voilà, parfait. Hop là. Okay. So overall, you need to start by the scaling. So same like you can say, the scaling, you need to have your table very clean, not too dirty of use, but with many tools surround, especially under your bowl. You know, you should have a large bowl, start to scale, and when you scale also, you need to split with different part your raw material. Why? Because at the end, you can check, okay, I have my salt, I have my sugar, I have my yeast, I have my pre-fermented, if you use my eggs, my butter for the English, everything. If you put all together and after you cover with the flour, automatically you cannot understand or not remember well if you can have the if you put inside the salt or not, you know. So for that, first flour and after all component inside. Because basically you have more flour than salt. So if you start to put maybe 1 kg of flour over 10 grams of salt, it's very hard to know if the salt is inside or not. You know, so that is very important. And why now in new bakery in bakery now we started to scale very properly. This is because previous that in the 70s, 80s, even 90s, the baker doesn't care about the scaling. You know, they start, put 1 spoon of salt, even acid ascorbic, they put a little bit, a pinch, or even 1 spoon inside, you know. So at the end, the product was completely irregular. One day good, one day bad, one day good, one day bad. And no one know because no one scaled properly. And you know, all raw material play a part on this bread, especially for the sugar, for the salt, for the yeast inside, you know. So it's very important to control what you put in, you know. If your recipe say, okay, this is a 6 gram of fresh yeast, you should add 6 grams of fresh yeast inside. If you put 7, it will play a bit because 7 grams is not the same amount of 6 grams. Alors, obvious, when you do a big batch, same like a 40 kg of bread, okay, là, it will not play a big or give a big trouble on your production. But if you start to have same like small amounts, same like 1 kg of flour, at this moment it will play a bit and can have a little bit more faster fermentation, and you cannot understand why the day you put 6 grams your flour was okay, and why you put your bread was okay, and when you put 7 grams your bread was not okay, because you don't care or you don't pay attention on your scaling. So it's very, very, very important to pay attention on the scaling about this one, you know. So at this moment, really is, ensure the correct proportion of this raw material. So that is very important, because if you don't do that at this moment, your production cannot be very stable every day. So obvious if you do that at home, but also if you do that maybe in your bakery or in your lab. So really, this is the first step you should pay an eyes and attention. So overall, after that, what you have? You have the direct method. So the direct method, this is directly all ingredients inside. So that means you do from scratch your production. So direct method, and this is the same like a little bit French connection of a word, you know. So that means you have a flour, water, yeast, salt, and all components inside. Immediately inside your batch of mixing. So automatically, the advantage of this method of fermentation, this is less of the fault, of course, because you scale everything at the same time, and of course is constant quality because all is inside and you don't need to care about pre-fermentation or about what you need to do one day before or what you need to prepare, etc. You know, but the disadvantage is less of pre-swelling. So that means, you know, you don't have a lot of fermentation because your fermentation will be very fast because it will be from scratch. So automatically you will lose a little bit, you know, about your swelling, about your flavor, about your quality of bread. So that is good when you are in a rush. You don't have bread maybe for evening. You want to do a bread. Bon, ben là, okay, you put everything inside your bowl mixer and you start to mix. And at the end, after a few hours, you have bread ready to use. And ready to use, of use is good, but could be more better if you use indirect method. Indirect method, what is? This is a mixed part of flour, water, and yeast first at the pre-ferment and add at the end later of your flour and salt and also even English if you use. So commonly this is same like pre-fermented dough or even could be a polish, but always this is flour, water, and yeast. Don't be confused with that is a pre-fermented or pre-fermentation. You know, don't be confused with sourdough. Sourdough is completely different. This is flour and water only, but that is another topic. Now we just focus on indirect method. This is one day before or 12 hours or 16 hours previous your production. You start to do your pre-fermented dough. So that means flour, water, and yeast. Of course, if this is a polish, the flour and water will be 50%, and after the yeast amounts will depend about when you will use your polish. But until now, we will think, okay, indirect method will be just pre-fermented dough, flour, water, yeast. Approximately, sorry, for the pre-fermented dough, the hydration will be around 65 to 68%. No more than that, because after it will be too soft. And during your fermentation, 12 to 16 hours, even more hydrated your dough will be, and more faster your fermentation will be. So after you will have maybe your pre-fermented dough a little bit too sour, you know, and a little bit too much alcohol fermentation. You know, so what is the advantage of this one? This is a balanced bread taste and texture, and that is very important because at this moment you will play a lot of the taste and the texture. Don't forget also the indirect method, so the pre-fermented dough, when you add inside, will play a lot about and give a strain of your dough. So that means at this moment when you start to do your bread, it will get a boost of strength. Okay, so for that is very important. But of course, the disadvantage what is you need to have more time and effort before to start your bread. So for that, even you have some baker, they don't use the pre-fermented because they think it's too hard to manage. We need to do that. It's not true. This is just organization. That is another topic later, but this is organization. If you are organized, you know exactly when you start your batch, you know exactly what time you start to mix, you have time to calculate it when you need to do. Mix water, flour, and yeast, take 5 minutes. Allez, 6 with the scaling, you know. So that is very important. This is a good a gain, and you will get a good benefit to use indirect method. Really compare the direct method. So now we have the mixing. So the mixing, what is? This is just to combine all ingredients together. So that means you start to mix clearly with your mixer. Alors là, you can see, basically, we call that the mixing first speed. So when you see one recipe, it will say, okay, mix first speed, mix second speed. So let me show you one thing. Yes. Let me show you one thing. Alors attends, hop, maybe this one I can put here. Voilà, parfait. Let me show you one thing on my file. Hop. Voilà. Example. Hop. I will show you my recipe so that you will have a clear example. Daisy bread. Voilà, daisy bread. Simple, Hop. Voilà, simple, tac, on va le mettre en grand. Voilà. Hop. Attends, est-ce que je peux, voilà. Voilà, daisy bread, daisy bread, what is? Kneading, you can see it, kneading, PA, so that is a mixing method. So mean pétrissage amélioré, so not too slow, not too fast. 5 minutes first speed, 7 minutes second speed. What that mean when you when you see one recipe same like this one? That means 5 minutes first speed. That means the mixing. 7 minutes second speed. That means the kneading. So at this moment, when you have one recipe same like this, automatically it will give you 5 minutes first speed, 7 minutes second speed. Mixing, kneading. That is very important. Mixing. This is just to mix all raw material. So you see, for this amount of recipe, I put every time 5 minutes so that the baker, the student, can understand he need to mix for 5 minutes to be sure all is combined. From my point of view, with this one, in 3 minutes could be mixed, but better to say 5 minutes. But kneading, là you need to pay attention. Là could be various. In a PA could be 5 minutes, even 7 minutes if you want to stretch a little bit your fermentation, your gluten. Sorry. But why I say fermentation? Because after you increase your temperature at the end of the mixing, and after automatically it will pay a bit about your fermentation speed. So for that, every time pay attention on your kneading time and the friction, especially on your mixer. But again, this one is another topic. But what you need to understand: mixing first speed, kneading second speed. Okay. So back on this one. Voilà. So for that, just you have all material inside together and you start to mix properly. And after that, you will start kneading. And at this moment, the dough gains structure and firmness. All right. And this is what I mean before. You see, the friction increase the temperature of the dough. That is very important. That is very important because why? At this moment, when you start your mix in a KitchenAid, in a professional mixer or whatever you want, on a mixing or even with your hand, more time you start to mix, more time you start to mix faster, and more time you start to give a friction, and this friction start to increase your temperature of the dough. And that is very important. That is a part of your bread making, because at this moment, if your temperature of the dough is too high, automatically it will be very play a lot about the fermentation, and it will be hard to control the fermentation. You see. So back to my back to the recipe. If you look the recipe again, just j'aurais pas dû l'effacer, c'est pas grave. You see, after that you have mixing, 5 minutes first speed, kneading, 7 minutes second speed, and after that you have a bulk fermentation. Always my bulk fermentation I put at 4 degrees. At 4 degrees inside the fridge, obvious, and 30 minutes. Because why? Because I know after this mixing it will be very around 22, 24 degree, good, but I want to let little bit chill inside the chiller for 30 minutes for the bulk fermentation. Of course, if I wanted to increase at 1 hour, I can because it's at 4 degree. If I let offside on my room temperature basically is with 20 to 22 degree, it will increase very fast the fermentation. And at this moment, maybe if your dough is around 25, 26 degree, it will be too fast for the fermentation, and you cannot control very well the fermentation. For that, always we have one TB, first, but that also is another topic. I will be back later on this one. First, I wanted to explain you the step-by-step how to do bread making. So that means mixing, kneading, scaling, pre-fermented, etc., etc. Hop. Voilà. For that, always, I use this one, up, thermometer, very easy, hop là, tac, voilà. Very easy to use, voilà, exactly, same like this. Perfect, I bought this one, this one I bought in Malaysia, but anyway, I 5 ringgit I paid this one, but very cool. You put inside your bread, and at this moment you can check the final temperature. That is very important. This is one of most important tool baker need. Whatever you have in your kitchen, if you don't have a good thermometer, go to buy one now before to do anything. That is the play a lot. And later we can see in other stream, I will explain you why it's important about the temperature to control the fermentation. So kneading, we finish with the kneading. So again, the temperature of the dough, that is very, very important. So for that, when you knead, especially on KitchenAid, sometimes for me, the first speed on KitchenAid is number 2, because the KitchenAid, why? When you start to mix inside your KitchenAid, the ball is too narrow, is a little bit narrow. Automatically your hook, the design of the hook is not very efficient for, is not same like a pig tails, Là, this is a spiral, a mixer that of course is professional, but you see the hook is on pig tails, same like this. So that is good for to have a good strain of your dough, but avoid too much friction. When you see the hook from your KitchenAid, sometimes is a little bit same like this one, and the friction is too high. And sometimes if you have the dough same like this texture, so approximately 65% of hydratation, it splits your dough in two, and sometimes you have some difficulty to mix in all in one, And what could be happen? But you mix more longer, so automatically you give a friction, and automatically you increase your temperature. So for that, it's very important to understand your machine, of course, what you want to do with your dough and what you want to do with your machine, but also to understand more time you let in the second speed and more time you start to increase the temperature. So for that, on a KitchenAid, speed 2 is better for the first speed, so like I say, for the mixing, and around 5 to 6 could be considered same like a kneading. After 8, you can increase if you do English dough, and at this moment you have a dough a little bit very soft. At this moment you want to unstick on a ball, so at this moment you can increase, but not too long, maybe 1 or 2 minutes maximum, and after you decrease, and even you can add your fat, your olive oil, or whatever you have to add at the end, or your ingredients, of course. So after that, same like you see on the recipe, we have the bulk fermentation. Alors, this is at the end of mixing. Even at the end of mixing, your mixer start to stop, your bulk fermentation start to start. Okay, so at this moment the dough is allowed to ferment in a large mass. So for that we say we call that bulk. Even you can do on a different batch if you want to dispatch in imagine 10 box, you can. It's not automatically a big batch. That is a baker decide what you want to do, because if you do big batch, imagine you do 2 kg of dough in the bulk fermentation in only 2 kg of dough, the fermentation will be a little bit more fast than if you split on 300 grams of the dough. Why? Because automatically your dough have more mass, so it will be a little bit more warm, and automatically it will start to develop more fermentation, and more faster the fermentation will be. Then if you start to split in a small part, at this moment you can control the temperature of your structure of the dough, and after, even if you put in fridge, at this moment you are very on slow down of bulk fermentation. Okay, so at this moment you have mass structure, formation of the flavor. So at this moment the fermentation start to develop CO2, gain your structure, and start to give a stress and strain to your dough. So it's very important to do a good bulk fermentation. Minimum, to my point of view, depend after the dough you use, but it's 30 minutes to 1 hour, even could be 2 hours if you want, 3 hours, why not? Again, depend what you scale first, how many fermentation, pre-fermentation you had inside your recipe. So that is very important to understand this part of the bulk. And sometimes also, if maybe your dough is a little bit looseless, what you can do, give one fold, at this moment you give one fold, and automatically you get again a good structure. You start to stretch a bit your window gluten, and also you start to split very well your fermentation around your dough structure. So for that, the bulk fermentation is important. Me, sometimes when I do my bulk fermentation, I like to do in the fridge. Why? Because sometimes, and I'm sure to get a good regularity of my fermentation, and also if maybe I'm a little bit in rush, or the recipe say, okay, 30 minutes of bulk fermentation. If it's in fridge, I know I can let 45 minutes, even 50 minutes, even 1 hour. Is okay. I have time. But if it's in the bench, in your kitchen, sometimes you don't have time to manage properly your time, and if you are in rush, you let 45, 1 hour, and là could be a little bit disaster, because your fermentation was over splitting, over swelling, and it started to ferment a little bit too much, and you can lose your regularity of your product. And that is very important, because after that you have the dividing. So if your bulk fermentation is too high, so it's too long, automatically when you start to divide, your dough will start to stick on your tools, start to stick on your table. You need to put more flour, etc., and start to be a little bit disaster, especially for the young baker. Okay, so you need to control the bulk fermentation very properly. So for that, put in fridge will be better, more easy for you to manage and control what you want to do. After that, you have the dividing. So the dividing, of course, is one big step also, because what you have a bread, and you start to divide in different pieces, different way also. Depend what you want to do. Could be a big bread, could be a small bread. But when you divide, always have how to say bench scraper, voilà, sharp, clean. You cut in one time, not 10 times. Avoid also little bit tiny how to say avoid when you divide the same like this one, you need to have one full batch. So that means if you have 300 gram to divide, you should divide 300 gram. You cannot divide 250 gram and after add 10 by 10 gram, because why? At this moment you will start to add more stress in your dough, and at the end when you start to pre-shape and shaping, your dough will have too much stress and sometimes could be shrink your dough at the end. So for that, you need to careful on this one. So same like this picture, cut in a stretch way, and after you can cut again, and you start to develop. And also you can see on this picture, that is good picture because look, I don't know if we can see very well. Hopla. You can see the dough after the bulk fermentation started to have a little bit bubble, of fermentation. That means the dough is ready to be divided. Okay, that also is a good sign to see if the dough is ready or not. You can see you have the bubble of fermentation. Too much means is it over fermented of the bulk. So that is for the dividing. Okay. That is for the dividing. After that, you have the pre-shaping. So pre-shaping, same like this, you see, again, a little bit flour, on your table. Inside your two hands, same like this one, your dough, and last slightly, you will start to create and form a rounded dough, same like this one. And look here, you can see you have a little bit gas development. So that means enough your gluten, your window gluten catch the gas inside the bread. So that means your mixing and kneading especially was done well, and also your dough have enough stress to be pre-shaped. Why is important to do that? Because same like I mentioned before, if you have different matter into your dough, sometimes you have, maybe here 250 gram here, and after you have maybe 10 gram. If you don't pre-shape, what could be happen? You have a different matter and the big one. Then you need to recombine everything together inside your dough to create a good skin, very soft, very shiny, same like this one. Not too tight, that is most important, because if you are too tight, you need to let it rest more time on your bench or even in a fridge. So for that, it's very important to give a stress, but not too much. Okay, so at this moment, up, back here, voilà, tac. At this moment, when you want to do your bread, imagine you have your dough should be inside your hand, same like this one, inside your hand, same like this, okay? And with this three finger only, 1, 2, 3, same like this one, you will go and you will do this movement, this movement, same like, a butterfly, So what that means? That means when I will go and backward, I let the dough go inside, underneath, go underneath. And when I turn same like this one, automatically I will create a round shape, and the dough start to create exactly same like this picture, a good round shape. Because at this moment, the dough on the top go inside, and you start to create a motion movement, same like this one, and you start to round it. So that means you go up, and là, you start, same like this one, many times. And after, up, back, and you do it again. Not too much. So that means backward, you go in, forward, you open. Go in, go out, go in, go out. Just same like this. And when your finger has the same like this one, when you go inside, automatically the dough go inside the dough. The dough on the top, go on bottom. The dough on the top, go on bottom. If you are stretched same like this, automatically, you see, you cannot. So that means you will tear your dough over your bench, Your dough, of course, will move, but will not go inside. That is important also. And of course, you need to be gentle with this part of process, because why? After that, we have the resting. Alors, resting time, this is after pre-shaping, your dough, your window gluten, is in stress, So automatically, you should lose the stress to get more elasticity previous your shaping, So have a look. Here you can see you have the fermentation. So that means the fermentation continue, the bulk continue, even you divide, etc. The yeast continue to be live, continue to heat the first primary sugar, and start to develop CO2 and alcoholic fermentation. So it's important also to control and manage. So basically the resting, this part is around 15 minutes to 20 minutes. Depends the product, depends the production. Let's see the recipe. You see our recipe here. We will see what it mean. Tac, you see, dividing 21 pieces, pre-shaping, rounded, and rest. 30 minutes. You see, 30 minutes. So because we want to do production same like this, so the ball, so automatically 30 minutes we can let the rest chill. Inside this recipe we have a pre-fermented dough, we have T65, so less on protein, so that is cool, and corn flour also, a lot of starch, so it's okay. But 30 minutes is better because look, we have a 21 pieces at 50 grams, so it's a little bit tiny, so for that is more easy to check. So you see 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, depend. Basically, they don't accept, if you do from scratch your bread, they don't accept to exceed to 45. 1 hour, not, because after you need again to start to shape. And if you have one batch same like this with 10 or 20 pieces, automatically the time you take the first and the time you take the last, it will be around 10 to 20 minutes. So automatically you have 20 minutes between the first baguette, imagine, and the last baguette. So automatically your first baguette go in oven first and the last go with 20 minutes after. Why? Because you have automatically a delay between the first time you shape the first and you shape the last. That is also important. So organization, again, this is what I'm saying. In previous. So resting, and yes, if you do bulk fermentation into the fridge, maybe overnight, that you can. Of course, at this moment, the resting time on the bench will be 45 to 1 hour. Because why? Because your dough inside, it will be at 9 degree, 10 degree, and you should sound your bread, and inside, and to know if it reach 17 degree. When you reach 17 degree, is ready to shape. If it's not, you should rest because your dough is a little bit too cold to shape. But that again, it is another thing. Now we focus only on from scratch or even with pre-fermented dough. But this is okay. You mix today, you bake today, not tomorrow. Okay. Step by step, start with this one. And at the end, we have the shaping. So the shaping, that is very... this is the shaping about a baguette. But again, look at the table, few flour, not many tools. Please avoid any tools because you can hurt yourself, you can hurt your finger if you have a knife or a toolkit or iron toolkit or something same like this. And also, is give the final shape of your production. So that means after that, you cannot change the shaping because you will pass on secondary fermentation. So the shaping is very, very important step. Alors, shaping baguette. Allez, let's go. Look. Shaping baguette, paf. Let me find something for you. Shaping baguette is very common, just let me check if I have on the bench theory. I don't think so. Je l'ai pas là. Alors attends. Waiting. Ah, je crois que je l'ai plus. Non, je l'ai plus. Bien. Sorry, I don't have. Because before I have one file, but I don't have now. Folding lamination. Okay, not bad. Anyway, I will do it on next time. It's okay. Yes, shaping baguette is very important because at this moment, when you shape your baguette, you should shape properly, careful, and don't avoid ruining the final product. So that means you don't need to slam too much or start to shape too fast or something. Take the time, open your this one, and when you start, to shape, you start to brush, same like this one, chill, you brush, same like this one, and you release, compress, release, compress, release, same like this one, and you will start to do this motion, and your hand also could be a little bit same like this, on you, same like this, to be sure it smooths very well the baguette, and là you will go, but with the finger little bit open. If you have the finger same like this one, you cannot catch the plenty baguette under your over your dough, sorry. So that is very important. Also, not too much flour, because if you have too much flour, what could be happen? Your dough will start to drag over the bench and the table, and automatically it will not be any tension. It will not give any tension. Basically, when we do a baguette same like this one, but this is another topic. It is 4 times, so that means 4-fold previous to start to extend. One baguette, 300 gram or 350 gram, depend, will be around 45 to 50 cm, maximum. Could be more long, of course, but after it will be a little bit short on the volume. Of course, after, if your amount is a little bit more shorter, automatically you will decrease the size, and yes, 4 times. But again, I will do one later on this year. I will do one topic, especially for the shaping of the baguette and something. So to explain you with a graphic and everything, how to do a baguette shaping. But again, your dough, if it's too sticky, overproofing before the shaping, it will start to stick on your hand, it will start to stick on your table, it will be very disaster for you to shape. So for that, you need to control the fermentation at the first, the temperature of the dough at the first, and a little bit more faster, and your room temperature. Even look, if here the resting, your dough is or your environment is too high temperature, what you can do, this is your resting time, you cover with a plastic bag, and you can let in fridge. And after, one by one, you took, and you go out, and you start to do your shaping. That also is very important about this one. So now back on this one. After that, we have the secondary fermentation. The secondary fermentation, again, is important because at this moment, we have the degradation of starch. So the starch started to begin a sugar, secondary sugar, and the yeast will start to heat this secondary sugar to continue to develop. And at this moment, the alcoholic fermentation starts to develop himself, and this period will allow your bread to start to triple the volume. So that means you have one baguette, same like I say, 45 cm, After shaping, imagine she need approximately, approximately 4 cm, And after secondary fermentation, basically we reach 6 or even 7 cm of the wide, So that is very important because at this moment, you have your final product. this step is very important because this is your final product before to go to the oven. So you should careful. Obvious when you do secondary fermentation, this is inside. If you have a proofer, will be better, obvious, but this is inside a warm environment. So approximately for the baguette or bread will be 20 degree, okay, to 70% of humidity. If you do croissant, imagine, là will be 26 to 28, approximately around 80 to 85% of humidity. Alors, if you are inside your kitchen, what could be happen? You don't know, you don't have a proofer, professional proofer. What you can do, this is here, we have a one shell, same like this one ladder, yeah. You can put your bread the same like this one and cover with one wrapping paper or even cover with one bag and put underneath one warm pan with hot water. Not too hot because after it will give too much temperature, but you need to reach approximately 20 to 26 degrees, depend your production, of course. Or if you don't have a ladder, something like this one, what you can do, put inside your oven and a little bit of warm water inside, and we create this warm temperature and warm environment, and let your bread start to rise up properly and reach the fermentation, the secondary fermentation. But careful, because at this moment, when you do that, the secondary fermentation, you should not be too long, Basically, again, we back to the recipe. Look, some that it will be better for you to understood. Up. Tac, recipe. Voilà. Easy bread. So, back on this one, look. Up. You see? Chipping, voilà. I do the dizzy bread, 7 rounded, blah, blah, blah. Proofing. So, secondary fermentation. Proofing also. 1 hour, 30 minutes at 20 degrees. Voilà. To reach the exact volume we need for the bread, So that means 1 hour, 30 minutes. Could be 1 hour for the baguette, could be more, could be less, depend your product, depend your amounts also of your product, depend many details. So that basically this is a recipe give you all along. And after you adjust because why? This is at the baker to control this one. This is at the baker, I need to control the fermentation, the temperature, the room temperature. If imagine I say, okay, 1 hour, 20 degrees in your oven, you put your pan with hot water, and it started to be, imagine, 22 or 23 degrees. And at this moment, you don't let 1 hour half, you let only 1 hour. You decrease the same like this one. And even if it's too cold, at this moment, what you can be, you don't be 1 hour half, you be 1 hour, 45 minutes or even 2 hours. You can let a little bit more time. You need to play with the time, and that is very important in bakery. The recipe is a guideline. After this is a baker to manage this guideline. That is very important for this one, So after the secondary fermentation, what we have? We have the scoring. Here we are, the scoring. Alors, I took this tool, but I will show you also so that you can see different tool. Voilà, I have. But this one, this is the most common with, Gillette blade, so that you can score properly and you can help the bread to develop properly also inside the oven. That is very important, the scoring inside the recipe and for the bread, that is very important. So, hop là, why? Voilà. I will be a little bit back, more bigger. Voilà, parfait. Okay, nickel. So, now the scoring. Why we score the bread? This is because the bread, before to go to the oven, we have a one structure. We shape, we proof properly, secondary fermentation done, but inside there is a gas. If you don't score, what could be happen? The gas will start to be overreact because at 50 degrees the cells start to be killed. So automatically inside the oven, the maximum of fermentation start to be reached, and after the cells start to be killed. So automatically, when the fermentation and the gas start to develop himself very faster, what could be happen? He need to go out, and if you don't score your bread, it start to scratch and to open completely randomly. Alors sometimes some better like, and no problem, but some bread, same like a baguette, need to have a good scoring. We call that la signature du boulanger. This is a very important part because at this moment you will give the final touch of your bread. You know, so at this moment I show you one bread tool, but me, you know, I like also to use this type of tool. I will show you. Voilà. Let me find. Voilà. Voilà. Same like this one. Sorry, the blade is a little bit old because a long time I don't use. But you see, so for that, so up, same like this one. You know, when you bring, same like this, up, you see. I don't know if you can see very properly. Voilà. You know, the blade is a little bit curved, same like this one. So that means when you took your blade same like this, you can start to score properly. 45 degree angle, and you go and you start to score same like this one, same like this one, same like this one. No more than that. You see, I don't hold blade same like this one because now I'm too strong. So automatically I will destruct the bread. So if I took my thumb on the bottom, two fingers on the top, just same like this one, I'm more light. You know, I'm more light, up, chill, and now I can score with less on the pressure. This is a blade work for you, is not your hand. You know. So at this moment you go up and you score, chill, 5 times. You see? And you do that up and overlap. But again, the scoring, I will do one topic especially for the scoring of baguette later this year. You know. Also, careful when you want to change your blade. Up, you pinch, same like this one. You see? Up là. You pinch one angle, you push, same like this. For that, this tool is very easy, same like I show you, because you can change your blade. Okay? Alors also, tac, voilà, parfait. Also, let me find for you another tool. Hop, just, voilà. Other tool from Lucas. Voilà. That is one student, you know, one student give me on a gift, just so. You have also this one. This one I don't use because of course is a gift. So there is a no blade inside. You see? Up. I will show you now. There is my name. Voila. But you know, on this one you can put directly here the blade. You see? And after you can directly score properly. But you see, it's more small. So sometimes the student, you know, don't like to use because it's too small. For me, it's a gift, you know. But same like this one, and after up you score, chill with your bread, quoi. But this one could be well for a small, you know, details. When you have maybe a rounded bread, you want to do same like a leaf, same like you see on online, you know, very trending. That could be helpful. But after for the baguette, take a long one. It will be more easy, more easy for use and very common in bakery. So now, back to here. Let me check just if we have some. Données statistiques. Okay. So. No. Okay. Parfait. No question. Nothing. Okay. So continue on this one. Up. So after the scoring, so again, the scoring is very important because it gives you a good development of your bread, and it play a lot with the fermentation, you know. After we have baking temperature, so that means when you go into, when your bread go into the oven. So you see, again, same like I say, 50-degree yeast die. So that means at this moment your fermentation is completely killed. Alors when I say 50-degree, this is 50-degree inside the bread, not offside, obviously. After 60 to 70 degree, you have formation of the crust. So that means your dough started to be dry, clearly, you know. 70 to 90, the coagulation of gluten is complete. So that means your gluten reach the coagulation and the start gelatination and enzyme active increase. So that means 6. So that means at this moment the gelatination and enzyme activity started to stop and started to create the gelatination. After, so that means basically your crumb started to be down at this moment. 100 to 130 degree max temperature of your crust. So that means your temperature started to be on the maximum and you will start to have the Maillard reaction. Alors Maillard reaction, this is when the secondary sugar start to caramelize. Basically start to reach this one around 150 to 180 degree. Depend of course your caramelization, how many sugar you have into your bread, you know, but for that your bread start to get brown color. Alors why Maillard? Because Maillard, this is laborantin who found this reaction from the sugar to begin brown, you know, to be a little bit shorter of this one. 150 to 200 crust color and flavor. So at this moment you create really, you know, the Maillard reaction and to have this brownie reaction and color. So for that, when you put in a baking temperature, you should careful about your temperature of your oven. Alors again, we back to the recipe. Up here again. Look, this recipe again. You have voilà, baking. Look, 245, so that is the bottom. 260, that is the top. One, same like this one, that is a steam. Because when you put the bread into the oven, you should have a steam. Alors if you're at home, you don't have a steam, what you could be happen, you had some ice inside the bucket, and you put the bucket at the same time you had your bread, so that it will create a steam. And of course, with a spray, water spray, you can spread a little bit water over your bread, will help to rise up properly your crust. And after that, 17-20 minutes depend. This one, 17-20 minutes depend again the time. It depends the coloring you want, the color you want to get from your bread. More brown, you let more time. More or less, you reduce the time, okay? And 240, 260, that is good for the deck oven, so real professional deck oven. But if you are at home, you can start to set up your oven at 230. And after, when you load inside, you decrease to 200, okay? But you should have, how to say, refractor stone to be sure your bread go inside and bake properly. After, of course, we can do that on a cocotte, but is another different way. Là, I talk about professional bread and bread making, you know, for the common and for the wider of everyone. Okay, and at the end, the storage. Many times we lost this part, we forget this part, we don't care about this part that is play a lot. Don't eat your bread after baking. You should wait almost 30 minutes offside over the cooling rack, you know, and you let offside and you wait 30 minutes, because why? At this moment, you know, your bread have water inside, and this water go out of your bread. And at this moment also, your starch start to get crystallization, and at this moment, this is your crust started to, how to say, to begin a little bit dry, because your amylase started to get crystallized, and at this moment, your crust started to begin a little bit crusty, and crunchy. If you put directly your bread into the bag, same like a plastic bag, hot, what could be happened? This water inside and this moisture inside your bread will go out into the bag. So automatically it will be cluster, and this water, what could be happen? It will be absorbed directly by your bread. Because your bread is continue to live after baking, of course, and automatically your bread will be completely soft, uncrunchy, too chewy, etc., etc. So really, 30 minutes, let offside, chill into the cooling rack, and at this moment you can start to do heating and start to do your slice, your toast, your everything you want to do with your bread. But also, why you need to wait after baking to heat? Because sometimes if your bread, sometimes every time obvious, but if your bread is too hot, you will not have any flavor, or you will not reach the real flavor your bread it was, So you should wait, because when it starts to be cooled down a little bit warmy, but not too much, at this moment it will be a little bit more flavored. And at this moment you will get the real flavor, the real texture of your crust, the real texture of your crumb, and now you will get a very good tasting. If you eat directly too fast, it will be not good. Also, why is very important to have the good storage? Because when you store in a cooling rack, it's completely cold. Okay, at this moment you have one batch of 10 bread at home. You want to do the conservation. And at this moment, you can put one by one inside a vacuum bag and let it frozen. And when you defrost, at this moment, you can rebake 2 minutes, 3 minutes into your oven, and you can eat again. If you start to frozen when it's hot or a little bit warm, what could be happen? Again, during the freezing time, the water will go out over the crumb, and at the end, when you take back your bread front of your frozen, your crumb started to be completely unstable and started to be crumbly and go over, but not in your mouth, over your table, over your cutting board or whatever. So at this moment, you will lose completely the right flavor, the right texture again. So this part is very, very important and very huge for you and for your bread. So, and for your bread making, So this part is very important. And even when you go to the bakery, they wait 30 minutes to give you bread. So that means when you buy bread, you have a fresh bread of use every time in every artisanal bakery, but you don't have the fresh one out of the bread, out of the oven. You have the fresh one, better taste for the customer. That you need to understand. It's not because he go out of the oven is automatically the fresh one. No, the fresh one is when he passed 30 minutes in cooling rack. Okay? So now back and do a recap before the end of this stream. So have a look. Today what we saw. I will put. Well, today what we saw different steps. So first we saw the scaling, very important method. Again, please careful when you use your scaler. Be sure your place is empty, not too dirty, not too messy. Sure first flour and after all components inside. Scale properly with a very accurate scaler of use, and raw material, that is very important. So method, you can use the direct method, so that means you put all inside and from scratch, you do your bread, or me, I encourage you to use indirect method. So that means pre-fermented dough first, and after later, let's see with more. Mixing again, 5 minutes, first speed, chill. You mix all ingredients together, no more than that. Voila. And when all was combined, at this moment you can start your kneading. But careful again, especially for the small mixer, some like KitchenAid or other. Careful on this one because the friction increase the temperature of the dough. So you should care about the temperature again. Thermometer. That is very important. Again, you don't have a thermometer, go to buy one now or after this video. Anyway, bulk fermentation is very important also because it started to develop the first flavor, the strain of your fermentation of your dough. So careful on this one. To my point of view, put in fridge. If you don't want, let on the bench, but careful on the time and room temperature, most important. And humidity and hygrometry also. Dividing, so again, when you divide, be clean, bench clean also, your bench scraper, stretch away, same like this one is very, very important to do that. Pre-shaping, again, chill, use your finger, same like this one, same like a bird, you remember, voila, chill. Gentle, not too tight, okay, because this is a big step before the resting approximately 15 to 30 minutes, depend your production, depend your temperature, depend your timing also, but not less than 15. Honestly, not less than 15. Shaping, again, if you do well your pre-shaping, your resting, and obvious your mixing and all, you shape, chill with finger open, and now you go slowly and you extend. For the baguette, same like this, 45, 30, for 300, 330, 50 grams. After you have secondary fermentation, very important. 20 degree, approx 70% for the bread, for the lean bread. Of humidity, so hydration, and if you are on croissant at this moment, could be 26, 28 with 85% of hydration. Depend against the recipe, depend your production value, depend also your environment, your tool. So this one also, we'll back again on this one later, but secondary fermentation, very important part, because at this moment, this is your last step before scoring if you do bread, or baking if you do a croissant. Scoring, again, you see, I show you the scoring blade, so careful with this one. Take a scoring blade, same like this one, chill, voila, go light, do that properly. You have a good development of your bread and good development for your production. So careful on this one, take time, be sure you overlap well, but again, I will do one files for that to explain you how to shape properly. So baking temperature important because sometimes you can understand what could be happen inside your bread when is loading in oven. So 50 degree yeast die, 60 to 70 formation of the crust, 70 to 90 coagulation of gluten, gelatination, cis, 100, 130, the Maillard reaction start to begin, 150, 200, you start to have a good color crust and flavor. So for that is very important. After more longer, more or less, you want to let happen to you. That is your production. You feel also what you want to do with your bread. You can play with your matière, and at the end the storage. So storage also is important. Is a big part of all of this one, because this is a final step of your bread before, if you want to give on a gift or anything or whatever you want. All right, guys. So I will do directly. So thank you so much to follow this first live stream. Honestly, I will do a lot same like this one. I don't know about the schedule, because soon I will fly in Spain for a class, attend a class. Sometime I fly also around the world. So I don't know, maybe one per month, two per month will be okay. I hope you enjoy this stream live. I hope you will enjoy also the rediffusion. So that means when the stream will be in YouTube channel. Also, I will do maybe some short and something. But most important, what I ask you this is to comment this video, this stream. Ask any question, please feel free. If you want some topic, ask me some that give me also some idea, and together we can start to build up something about this one. Really, I want to continue to teach, but also to deliver at the people in the worldwide what is real bread, what you want to do a bread, so how to do a bread also, and if this channel can help you, will be okay. So this is the first step of something similar like this. My first time from scratch, I'm sure, I am inside my home, so voila. So I don't. I'm honest, so be honest with me. If something is shit, let me know. Why not? I hope, honestly, you do well. You do good bread with this video, and this video help you to do good bread. So, guys, see you soon. I hope we can see us soon as possible. And I tell you, have a good bread. Good years. Ciao.